Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Doors podcast. I am here with Magdeline, and Mags is an engineering team lead with a strong background in software development, software delivery, and leadership. With extensive experience in building and leading engineering teams, Mags specializes in ensuring that products are scalable, meet non-functional requirements, and are delivered on time without issues. Currently leading a team focused on quality engineering and tooling at Xero, she is passionate about creating efficient engineering processes, fostering collaboration across diverse teams, and helping engineers grow in their careers. With experience working across different cultures, they understand the challenges of navigating leadership, adapting to change, and building high performing teams in today's fast moving tech landscape. In this episode, Mag shares insight on the future of technology, standing out in the job market, and leadership lessons for engineering stepping into senior roles. Mags, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, Alex, and hi, everyone. I'm Magdalene. Right now, I'm actually an engineering team lead. My journey in leadership has been less about formal authority and more about influencing. So, to others, it probably resonate with leading from the background. Um, yeah. So today, I'm excited to share my thoughts on leadership, the evolving tech landscape, and advice for those looking to step out in their careers. Thank you for
Me
having me.
too. Yeah, it's a pleasure, and I always love your energy that you bring, Mags. Every meeting, it's like, "Hey, how you doing?" It's brilliant, and I can understand why your team would want to follow you. You know, you're leading a team of 13. You're about to lead another larger team, and I love that because I think energy is contagious, isn't it? It's like how you turn up to work. Every great leader I've had has got great energy, so I noticed that about you. And how would you define good leadership? How would you define good or bad leadership?
I think to me, well, my style of leadership, I prefer leading from the background. I do think that leadership is more about service. You're providing a service to your team. If your team succeeds, you succeed. So the way I look at how I succeed myself personally is actually the team succeeding. So my role in leading my team is to ensure that I'm actually helping them, providing the environment, unblocking obstacles, setting them up for success.
It's true. And that service leading, but there's also an example element, isn't there, Mags, of like, hey, I'm going to turn up, I'm going to have integrity, I'm going to be
Yeah,
decisive
absolutely.
and bold. And I mean, how long have you been working in leadership for now?
4 or 5 years now, I think. But I have been in engineering for more than a decade. Yes, so I've worked with many people. So I worked in Singapore for quite a while before I came to Australia, and then I've been in Australia for the last 8 years. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
you're
I've
an
met
Aussie.
many people.
Hey, and what do you see the biggest difference between the Singapore tech scene and the Australian tech scene?
I think the world tech scene has actually evolved quite a lot in the last few years itself. So I might not actually be able to produce a really good comparison, but from my experience, I was working more as an individual contributor in Singapore. So I did a lot of the focus work, hands-on work, building the capabilities and trying to produce good products, but with the direction from my leaders. Um, when I moved to Australia, I had the opportunity to grow from individual contributor to a leadership role where I can then grow capabilities around in a different perspective. So
Mm.
if you ask me to compare this, it's not really not a different basket, I think. The environment itself is it depends on which company you will be. I work from enterprise, so I think I have most of my career have been working in enterprise, large enterprises. So in Singapore, I was working in a company that was US based. So the culture is pretty much open, but US led culture. But Singapore work culture is more with a structure, so 9 to 5. Beyond that, overtime. So this will be some of the working culture that I'm quite used to the way Singaporean works.
Mm.
In Australia, when I first came, it was a little bit of culture shock because I was asking, when can I go home? What time is knock-off time? And they will look at me and say, why are you even asking this question? You can just leave when you're done. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well, I'm
yeah.
glad that we've got you here, Megs, and that you're leading teams and working in that tooling and the innovation space. And to your point, yeah, the industry has changed a lot. I mean, I think the past 2 years we've seen it just compound. Like we had Kate on the show the other week, and she was talking about how, like 10 years ago, tech was a bit more stable. It was changing, but slowly. And now it's just
Hmm.
ramping up, isn't it? With AI becoming this companion that we utilize. And so what do you think the future of tech looks like?
I think you're right on that. I still think that AI will play a very big part in the future, at least in the short to medium term. And maybe there will be another invention come up, beyond that.
Mm.
But for the time being, I think AI will influence not just in customers' product. So we're already seeing a lot of chatbots, AI focus, but I think productivity tools, a lot of them are coming up. I've been trying out some of the new productivity tooling available in the market, and I can sense that anything, I can even see that some of the AI has specialization. Like ChatGPT was the first one that came out and build out the hype about artificial intelligence, and then later on we'll have different kind of AIs that focus on different workflow. For example, you have Gumloop that's really focusing on workflows automation. I think even in the business itself, in my teams, who are already looking into using AI tooling to improve our productivity, help with some of the operating things, also build some of the automation from the tasks that humans are not that great at. Boring, mundane tasks are really good candidates for building automation and AI in this area. So I will see that in businesses, it will probably make more sense that they will be investing more into this area.
Mm. So you're predicting more of the tooling side. That's where we're going to see a lot of utilization and the future expanding.
Yeah. And I think that it will make sense if they come up with new innovative way of using AI. Not just the chatbot was the first one, right? Everybody thinks of AI, yeah, chatbot, customer service chatbot, things like this. But I think now it has evolved more into the background, like really improving productivity. So that's where I think there's a lot of room to grow, a lot of
Mm.
opportunities in this area.
And I reckon it can't replace humans in the way that we think, like using discernment and making good judgment. Like I've even seen lately where people are like, hey, they're using the AI model. They say, hey, is 0.09 bigger or smaller than 0.99? And it's like, oh, 0.09 is bigger because it means, and it's just like little things like this where the data, you have to have that human discernment to actually go, hey, is this correct? But in
Mm,
the type of optimization or tooling, 100% we don't need to use. And I find it comical that we can also use tools to save us time, but then we use that
yes,
time in a different manner. We end up being busy somewhere else. So
yes,
there's
yes,
always,
absolutely. That's right. Yeah.
yes. And what do you think? I mean, yeah, any tips or tricks to stand out in the job market? What would you recommend?
Um, I think if it's a new engineer looking, or someone who's like freshly graduated from the university looking to enter into technology space, probably look into an area that is of interest. For me, if I were to tell myself like 10 years ago, I'll probably advise myself that first I need to know about my own likes and dislikes, and then I'll find a company that resonates with what I want to. And I'll look for career growth in the company, like basically an environment that enables me to strive, right? Enable me to build the skills and capabilities that I want. I will look for mentors that will help me fill in some of the knowledge gap, because when you first started out, you might not even be able to know what you actually need in order to advance your career. So
Mm.
mentoring can help a lot in that aspect. And then talking to your people leader will be able to tell you what you need in order for you to advance to the next role level, etc. And then basically finding out what you really like about the company, what kind of like work environment you got. Are you a team player, or are you more, do you work better with yourself? I think in the current technology space, I find that there's a lot of collaborative work requirement, because the nature of the work is so complex now. You can't do it alone. You even you need a team. Sometimes you need several teams in order to complete a job. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, building up this kind of people skills, the networking skills, is also equally important, not just the technical capabilities.
Yeah, because then you've got advocates. working with you as well. And in that leadership of knows, shows, and goes, you know what you're talking about. You're showing others, and you go and do it. You build this advocacy behind you of going, "Hey, Mags knows all about that." But then when you're collaborating all together, you're able to execute on what you need. And I like your point about finding. Knowing who you are, of knowing what you like, what you dislike. Like, not all domains are for certain people, but that
Yeah.
mentorship can help excel you and really grow into that step. And I mean, you've probably had great mentors in your life as well, Mags. And what sticks out for a great mentor? Like, what sort of characteristics do you see in great mentors?
I think one of the things that I find very useful to me is that when you are very often I find myself trying to work out a problem, but I might not actually know what the problem is. And I find myself talking around just using different phrases to try to describe a situation or a problem, but I wouldn't know what to call it. But a very good mentor might be able to question me, face the question in a way that will help me define what the problem is. Because that's the first thing. You have to define your problem first before you can think of solution. If you don't know what the problem is, how are you going to come up with solution? So I find this incredibly useful to me.
True. So they elevate your thinking pattern by pushing
Yes.
back and asking questions, because it's not always answering the question that you need. It's them
No.
to ask you the question to unlock that. Otherwise, you're not really, because I see leadership as parenthood sometimes. You're helping
Mm.
enable people get to that next stage, but if you're just answering all their questions, then they're never going to be able to think and have that ownership or responsibility on their own.
Yeah, that's right. I think there was one of my managers actually once told me before when I was first starting out, don't just answer questions, ask more questions. Because when you're asking more questions, you're actually enabling your team member to learn because they will learn more about what they're trying to face. They will learn more about the problems they are trying to solve. And you might actually provide a different perspective, but you are not solving it for them. There's a key difference, I think. People grow a lot more, I tend to think, when they are solving their own problems. And I think
Mm.
that on the base level, at the foundation level, they do want to solve their own problems. They're not looking for others to solve it for them.
It's true, but then it's the complex, isn't it, of what's easy and what's uncomfortable. And no one really wants to do what's uncomfortable, but that's where
Yeah,
there's true progress, and progress is
that's
happiness.
right. Yes. You have to push yourself out of your little comfort zone. And as you expand your comfort zone, what you're comfortable with becomes bigger. And that's where you're building your that broader perspective.
And that's a great point, because I think that point is leadership as in a total. Like, I remember my first leading role and just stepping into that. I was so nervous because telling people what they should be to keeping them accountable, but it just grows, right? Like, I mean, for you leading a team of 13, maybe 5, 6 years ago, you would be like, oh, this is quite uncomfortable for me. But now it's you, what just you do every day at work. So, yeah, I mean, what are some of the biggest leadership lessons that you've had, Max?
Listen more. That's I think one of the thing. Um, and don't try to solve the problems for others. Give them direction, help to unblock obstacles, ask meaningful questions that help them define what the issue is. You might be able to provide certain advice or guidance on like what's good and what's not, or you can set clear expectation of what good looks like, because then they give them a goal to work towards. Sometimes we don't know what good looks like. Usually I think around there. The other thing is being supportive. um, there's a lot when there's lots of leader will say that yes, I'm open and I'm supportive, I listen to others, but sometimes you will find that this might be in conflict with what the business is expecting of you. So going the extra mile is never really expected, but that's why I see a good leader to be. You sometimes should go through the extra mile because we're dealing with people and not machines here. Yeah, one solution might work for this individual, but it's not going to work for the next individual. Personality, um, and the human factor plays a huge part.
Yeah, because even though you're building software, the software can't build the software. The humans build the software.
Yes.
And so that one book that really helped me was Personality Plus, and knowing that there's different types of personalities. And
Mm.
recently there was that Surrounded by Idiots that has just repackaged all of these ideas. And it is knowing who your team is, how to communicate with them. There was a lot of wisdom in that reply, Mag. So I'm going to have to re-listen to that again as well. And if we switch gears, so talking about building high performing teams, maybe I could give you two scenarios. So first scenario is you're the first person and you're building a high performing team. Like, what would you do? And the second example is there's already a team there. You know, you've got a few people, but yeah, how do you build those high performing teams?
Okay. So I have actually worked in these two situations before. When I was building, if I was building a team from scratch, if I'm actually new in the company, I don't know anyone, so then I will rely on subject matter expertise to give me who or which experts or which skills can actually help me form up a team to produce a product, for example. Now, if it's for the latter case, um, then I have to spend significant time to understand personalities of different of the current existing team members, how they prefer to work. So team building activities become quite important. It is a safe environment, a safe, open environment, transparent environment for everybody to tell what I like, what I don't like, and there's no judgment there. So I find that having this kind of team building activities helps me with more understanding what each team member, how they best prefer to work, and then it's trying to find out a way to collate all of these factors in to build a team to deliver what the business wants of us.
Mm. I like that a lot. So understanding the people in the second example, the first is getting the subject matter expert so you can really grow that out.
Yes.
And lastly, bringing this into land, what would you like to share with any of the listeners? Any final thoughts, any wisdom, Mags, that you'd like to talk about?
Um, so I think when I was first starting out in my career, I often, like, from now, because I've already been about a decade in engineering, I often think about what I would have done better. Like some of the mistakes or the wrong paths that I took, or the decision that wasn't as well as I would like it to be. So I often reflect on things like this, and one of the things is that I emphasize on knowing yourself, because it took me a journey to get to know what I really enjoy doing and what I don't like doing. So, and I often find that if you, as in yourself, you're invested in your career, you're invested in your job right now, you're engaged in it, you will tend to want to do better than what you currently is doing. So you will often look for motivating factors. You will look to be better today than yesterday, often having this thought in mind. So that means that you're always on the path of improving yourself. The only thing that I know, that sometimes in technology is a very cutthroat world, it's very competitive and things change all the time. There is investment in energy that you need to put in order to remain relevant in the tech industry, and this is something that you have to be very comfortable with. Yeah.
And that's wisdom coming from you, one of the highest energy ladies I know. So I love that.
Thank
That's a
you,
great
Alex.
point to stop on. So thank you so much for coming on the show today, Mags. It's been brilliant having you on.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everybody.